And on this Tuesday, February 10th, 2026 edition of Newsmakers, Israel's energy minister is calling the government's latest West Bank measures de facto sovereignty. Lawrence Brooks reports.
Energy Minister Eli Cohen told Israel's army radio that the steps establish a fact on the ground that there will not be a Palestinian state. The measures approved by Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's security cabinet expand Israel's control over land use and planning. They ease land sales to Israeli Jews and revive a committee for land purchases. Palestinians, Arab countries and human rights groups have called the moves announced Sunday an annexation of the territory. It's home to roughly 3.4 million Palestinians who seek it for a future state. I'm Lawrence Brooks.
A landmark trial accusing social media companies of addicting children to their platforms has begun in Los Angeles. Caitlin Humani reports.
Attorney Mark Lanier delivered the opening statements for the plaintiffs first, arguing that the case is as easy as ABC, which he said stands for Addicting the Brains of Children. His argument centers on internal documents from defendants Meta and YouTube that show an awareness of the addictive quality of social media and a desire to capitalize off of young people's heavy use of their platforms. The plaintiff has only been identified by her initials, KGM. She began using social media as a minor and claimed she became addicted to the platforms, which then had a detrimental impact on her mental health. So far, jurors have already been presented with an abundance of information. Jurors were told they do not need to discontinue use of YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, or any other forms of social media throughout the course of the trial, which is expected to last about 8 weeks. But the judge emphasized that they should not change the way that they interact with the platforms, including by changing any settings or creating new accounts.
Kid Rock says he managed to catch some of Bad Bunny's Super Bowl halftime show on Sunday.
Like most people, I didn't understand any of it. I mean, I saw there's a lot of dancers and a lot of big to-do stuff. And, he said he wanted to have a dance party. It looked like he had one. Not my cup of tea.
He talked with Fox News yesterday, fresh off headlining Turning Point USA's All-American halftime show. It was billed as alternative counter-programming to the Super Bowl 60 halftime show after backlash from some over the NFL's choice of Bad Bunny to headline the event. Kid Rock says he personally has nothing against the Puerto Rican musician.
I don't fault that kid for, doing the Super Bowl, getting in front of a global audience. I fault the NFL for putting him in that position, and Turning Point for having to come out and have an alternative for people to watch. It's just poor kid.
And a new wave of Christian artists from various backgrounds is drawing youth audiences to faith-based rap, Afrobeats, and R&B. They're making music that hasn't traditionally been represented in many Christian spaces, which makes it challenging for them to break into the mainstream. However, social media algorithms have helped them reach wider audiences, and bigger labels are catching on. Christian rap has been growing for over a decade, but its newer subgenres and counterparts have grown since the COVID-19 pandemic. The artists say their songs help people connect with God, when traditional worship and gospel songs don't resonate. And that's Newsmakers for this Tuesday, February 10th, 2026 edition. I'm Keith Black.